As if it weren't terrorism.
Okay, we left off a little while ago talking about painting. We'll get back to that. I understand you did a lot of swimming in your youth and your later years as well.
Swimming?
Swimming.
Yes, I was a good swimmer. I was a professional swimmer when I was quite young.
Ah, now how did you get started? What was your interest? Because you were
I
traveling?
think probably the fact that we lived where there was swimming all the time. My dad was in the Navy and Mother was a good swimmer, and I just grew up swimming.
Neat.
And I loved the water, so salt water particularly.
Did you have a natatorium at Penn State
Um,
in college?
we did, but I don't think I did much with it at Penn State.
So
I
where did
can't-
you do your swimming, in
I
Hawaii?
can't remember. Yes, I did a lot of it out there.
So that was before college. You were in high
Yeah,
school then, right?
Yeah, that was before college.
Neat.
I swam at Penn State, but I don't really remember that part of it. There was so much going on at school that
I know. You were more into boys then.
well, I wasn't. You couldn't say that I belonged to this. I was never one that followed a path. You come jab, down. This is what you do in life. That's not me. It couldn't be because we were moving around all the time. I've been in every state in the Union. I've lived in several of them. Been in Montana and Missoula and all the way down and lived in Oklahoma for quite a while. And then we went to Bremerton, Washington, and the boat went in the dry dock. And we were right up over the dry dock where the movies went on every night for the people that had to stay there. And that's when I heard Paul Robeson sing. And he sang Rock of Ages, and it came right up from down below, right into my room, and oh God, what a voice.
Neat.
It was just beautiful. I can still hear him.
So from all that, how did you get involved in art? Where did that come from?
Good question. I have to think about that a while.
Oh, she first met Mr. Garfunkel years ago.
What did I do?
Art Garfunkel?
Oh yeah, Garfunkel. Well, I thought.
Well, do you remember when you first picked up a brush, when you started painting?
No, because I probably
Were you in Florida at the time?
Probably picked up a pencil first.
You studied under a fellow in Florida?
I have to stop and think about that because I really don't remember.
You studied under a guy in Florida, Henry Salzman?
Yes, I did.
Yes. So what was that like?
Henry was, oh golly, I hadn't thought of him in a long time. I can see his face.
All right.
A lot of fun. What a nice guy he was. He had a full beard. In fact, you don't look unlike him. He had a great sense of humor and a wonderful way of teaching because he did have a sense of humor. And he'd point out whatever you had done that was kind of goofy, and then we'd all laugh as though it weren't serious. I don't know. Henry, I wonder whatever happened. He's one person I've lost track of completely. I don't know where he ended up.
Speaking of different people that you've been in touch with, I remember once you told me you basically moved every year of your life for 23 years, or your first 23 years. Mm-hmm. Now, in that time, did you keep in touch with a few of the people that you met along the way?
With some of them. I did quite a bit of letter writing, but I didn't always get a return, so.
Yeah.
I don't know. We always wrote a lot of letters in our family. My mother's mother,
Your grandmother?
Grandma, she was a grade school teacher, she was a Girl Scout leader, she was, you name it, she did it. And she was so with it, with everything, and so good with kids. And they lived in a house that was like a row house that had been taken out of the row and set up by itself.
Oh.
They shared the house with three floors. They shared it with three families,
Mm-hmm.
and frequently one family took care of the other family, and it was one of those ongoing things.
Now, was that the same one you told me once about a lady that was in the family who actually recruited got firefighters to fix up toys to get to the needy?
That was Grandma. Yeah.
Okay, it was her.
Yes,
okay.
she did. she had a lot of ideas, and when they had one telephone for 3 families in this house, and the telephone number had been the same for as long as anybody could remember. And one year, the phone company decided to change the number, and they changed it. I don't know what it used to be, but they changed it to 0183W. And Grandma, bless her, she took one look at it and said, "Oh, I ate 3 whales." And that's the next story I'm going to publish when I get it done. But she also was one who, well, her point in that, giving you some way to remember what you had lost. And she was so good at it. But she also was a Girl Scout leader, as I said, and did a beautiful job of that too. She's the one that got the toys to be collected. They put bins out for people to collect broken toys, and the broken toys got taken in by the firemen who mended them, and the next year distributed them free to the poor kids in the area.
Oh, sweet.
What a sweet thing to do.
And that was Massachusetts somewhere, wasn't it?
That was Brockton.
Brockton, okay.
Shoe factory. Well, Grandpa Tom, her husband, wanted nothing except to be a doctor. He wanted to be a doctor in the worst way, and he went to school, hopefully to get himself, went to work, in the shoe factory, so he could earn enough money
to pay for the schooling.
So forth. And there was an accident one day at the factory, and he lost the first segment of his index finger. And they would not take him in medical school because of that one thing, because they said no way could he tie sutures, and all doctors had to.
Oh, wow.
Things like that are really mind-boggling.
Yeah.
So he's the one that kind of took me under his wing, and one day I went everywhere with him that I could get. He's the one, he always had Moxie for me, by the way. Which had a lot of caffeine in it, but of course they didn't pay attention to that in those days. But he was very good with his hands and with everything. He would have been a wonderful doctor. He was at home if you had a scrape or something. But one day I said, when I grow up, I'm going to be a doctor just like you. No, that's not what I said. I said I'm going to be 100 just like you, I think, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, he said, "Of course you will," and set me up and walked all around me and looked at me, and he says, "You're fine." But they wouldn't take him in medical school because of that one silly thing.
And a quick question for you. In all the years that I've heard stories from you,
yeah.
I know you moved every year until you were 23, but it seems like Massachusetts was always a place you came back to. Remember you talking about Buzzards Bay in Brockton and so forth?
Because I was at probably at the most impressionable age when we lived there. And we lived in that house when I was first, second, third grade, sort of. Oh, here's another story for you. I don't know if I ever told you this one, but there were twins in the family, little girls. And one day, there were twin, actually, the grandchildren were, the aunts and uncles, I should say. There were twins in the family. Anyway, Aunt Martha, but her name was Mattie, they never called her Martha, had a twin. And one day, Aunt Mattie's twin was in the other, well, there was a kitchen in the middle, there was an old dining room over there and another one over here, and this was family and that was guests.
Oh, okay.
But she was over there, she was 2 years old, and nobody was watching her at the moment, and she started messing around in the other room, and then they couldn't find her, and they went and looked. There was a bucket, whoever had cleaned the floor had left a bucket of water on the floor, the soap suds or something, with a mop, and she went over there just to look see, and she looked down and she saw herself. So what did she do? She lost her balance. She died with her head in the bucket and her feet on the floor.
Oh,
And that's a gruesome story.
I guess
but it's
it
the
is.
truth.
Wow.
But it's what happened.
But she had a twin sister?
She had a twin sister.
Wow.
And the twin sister had to grow up with that knowledge.
Oh, that's awful.
And I don't know what happened to all of them because we moved. We went to Hawaii and we did all kinds of things. So
Okay. I'm going to take a break for just a second because I'm doing these in between 10 and 15 minute segments. You hold on a second.